Hey everybody, in this video we're going to learn about while loops and why while loops are even needed. Because a for loop can just do basically what we need, at least it has so far. Right now we just printed numbers out. We use the for loop to go through a list and print a bunch of stuff out. But for loops are really only useful when we know how many times we need to run a loop. So if we're printing numbers 1 to 4, we know we're going to start at 1, we're going to end at 4, done. Or if we're printing a list of things, it starts at the 0 index and it goes all the way to the end. But a lot of times when we're getting input from the user, which is a good case for while loops, we don't know how many times it's going to run. That's where a while loop can be really useful. So in this one, we're going to do a guessing game where the user guesses a number between 1 and 10. And we're going to say that the secret is 4. Don't say anything though. So we're going to go ahead and have a variable called guess. And we're going to get an integer from the user by using input. And we're going to ask the user just to guess. We'll keep it short. So we take the input from the user and then we convert it right away to an integer. Because if we don't convert it to an integer, then it'd be difficult sometimes to add a number to it or check if it's equal. I think it might be able to check if it's greater than or equal to, or greater than or less than. But it's always a good habit to do an integer, since it is an integer. All right, so next up, we want to keep asking the user to guess if their guess does not equal the secret. So this is about staying in the loop. So we're going to say while their guess does not equal the secret. So this exclamation means not, and then we have equal to, so not equal to. So if it's not equal to, I just want to go ahead and ask them to guess again. So let's go ahead and run this. And if we do a 5, 6, 4, 4, it worked. So it was asking them, and when I entered a 4, we were all good. Because if this ends up being 4, and secret we already know is 4 because it's up here, and then this statement right here is false. Therefore, it's not going to run the code down here, which initially was asking the user for more input. So that's why it stopped. All right. Now, let's test to see if it runs. Well, actually, let's give them some feedback. We're going to print out incorrect if they didn't guess it correctly. Makes sense. It's a little something, something. So if we enter a 5, a 6, a 7, and then a 4. Ooh. So right away when we got it wrong, it didn't print out incorrect. And that's because when we got the information from the user, we go inside the while loop, and the first thing that happens here is we just ask them again. We don't even give them any feedback. The incorrect comes after we ask the second time. And then it also printed something out after we got it correct. And that's because after we guess it, and we put in a 4 in this case, it automatically is going to go incorrect, and then it's going to come up here and check if we're going to ask the user again. So the order in which we're doing this is a little bit off. So as soon as we ask them for a number and they enter it incorrectly, we should give them some feedback on that it's incorrect. So the first thing we can do inside this loop is let them know that they're incorrect. And then we're going to ask them again, because every time they're incorrect, we're going to ask them again. So this order makes a little bit more sense. So let's enter a 5. That's good. A 6 and a 4. Okay. So right away, we got some feedback. We got some feedback the next time. And then after that, we tested it with a 4 and it worked. Also notice when I'm going through this program, I'm always testing my code with a bunch of numbers and in different orders too, because we want to check to see if the 4 works right away. And it does, because as soon as we get 4, this one is false, because 4 is equal to 4. So that makes this statement a false statement. Therefore, this code doesn't run. So it works in that case too. Let's go. Now, we want to tell the person that they got it right when they get it right, because who doesn't want to see a you've won screen? So let's go ahead and print. Oh, we need a condition though. We can't just print it. So if the guess now equals secret, so now we're doing the opposite of this. Then we can say print you've won. Boop, boop, boop. Then let's go ahead and run it. And then we'll do a 5, a 6, a 4. You've won. That works. Now, this right here can be a little bit awkward because we should only really be in the loop when it's not equal to the secret. But then like later on, we're checking to see if it is the secret. I mean, it does work, but it might not be the best. But the idea is here, this code only runs when the secret is not equal to the guess. So that means that when we're out of the loop, like down here at this indentation down here, that means that the guess must have equaled the secret. That's the only time it would be down here if we got it right. Because this is all happening when we get it wrong. So we can get rid of this if statement altogether, and we can just backspace this and indent it the same indentation as this one up here, this while loop. So this is when it's wrong. Anything after it is when it's right. So we can test it again, 5, 6, and then 4, and you've won. Now let's test it right away with a 4. Let's go. All right, one last little thing. Notice that when we keep guessing, a little bonus for you. Notice how everything's like crammed together. Probably not good practice because it's kind of confusing if this incorrect goes with this and this. They're like, it's not easy to see. So let's create some space. Probably a good spot to create space is above every time they guess. So here's the first time they guess. I'm going to put a /n at the beginning. Notice that it turned color. This is a little escape character, and this means new line. So we're going to make a new line, and then here's another guess right here, and we're going to make a new line here too. So the nice thing is when we run it again, got some space there, and now every time we run it, we know that these two go together, those two go together, and those two go together. Looks a lot nicer. All right, so in review, when we're asking the user for a number, that's a good time to use a while loop as opposed to a for loop, because we don't know how many guesses it's going to take for them to get the right answer. And then we're going to stay in the loop, and then we're going to ask them again. So we ask them before the loop, we check the condition, and then if they get it wrong, we're going to ask them the same question down here. You guys just learned how to make a while loop and a guessing game with it. If you guys want to do the same thing, but with while true, which might actually make it a little bit easier, right there. Or if you guys need to go back and figure out how a while loop and a while true loop are kind of the same, but also a little bit different thought process, right there. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.